Hello everyone, welcome to this morning's webinar on the new LabKey Server UI. My name is Kelsey Gibson. I'm going to be your host today, so I'll be taking care of any audio or video portions of the presentation. Jessi Murray is going to be walking you through the actual UI and what has changed since we released 17.3. I'm going to give everyone just a couple minutes to get all logged in before I hand it over to her, but please feel free to reach out to me via chat if you have any technical difficulties, and we'll get started shortly. All right, we're going to go ahead and get going. So for those of you who have just joined, my name is Kelsey Gibson. I'm going to be your host for today's session, and I'll handle any technical issues that you might run into with your video or audio. So please feel free to reach out to me. If you do experience any of those, you can reach out to me in the chat panel of your GoToWebinar interface. And today, Jessi Murray, our UX UI designer here at LabKey, is going to walk through some of the changes to our user interface that we introduced as part of the LabKey Server 17.3 release. If you have any questions during the session today, go ahead and add those into the question panel in GoToWebinar. We'll answer those at the end or as appropriate throughout if there's something that we can address during Jessi's walkthrough of the new UI. But put those in the question panel to make sure that we get any of those answered. Another note, we are recording today's session, so if you do have someone who you'd like to share the recording with, I'll make sure to distribute that to everyone after this session today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Jessi, and she's going to walk through our new LabKey Server UI.
Thanks, Kelsey. So like Kelsey said, I'm Jessi, and this has been one of my big projects for the last year. So I'm excited to share it with you all. So I'm just going to walk through a couple of the high-level changes that we've done in the past year, and then we'll answer questions at the end. So a few things that you may notice. We've redesigned the header up here. Instead of having 3 layers, we've shortened it up and made it into 2, and we've updated these menus to be icon-based. There's still the admin menu, if applicable. We have the user menu that we've added some of the help content into as well. This is an experimental feature, so you may not have it, but we do have some basic notifications that are available up top as well. So a few things that you may notice right away is, even though I'm an admin, I don't see a way to add any content onto this page or adjust my tabs. Usually there's a lot of that kind of right in your face. What we decided was that this is functionality that isn't needed most of the time, and we were trying to really optimize for the scenarios that are most applicable in 80% of the use cases, and then make possible the scenarios that are applicable in the other 20%. So one of the changes that we made is we developed what we call page admin mode. So if I wanted to adjust the content on this page, I would go into that mode. This sticks around until I exit it. You can see that there's a big old button up top here to let me know that that's what's happening. As you can see, the page updates. All of your tab controls and your add web part controls are here. We also added another feature that we're actually pretty excited about that allows you to hide the web part frames on demand. So one web part that we think looks really nice without the whole frame around it is a search box. So this is what the preview looks like in admin mode. If I exit it, you can see now I don't need this whole box around what is just a simple search box. We have similar capabilities for, for basically every web part. We do have special content or special behavior rather available for Wiki Web Parts, which allow you to, if I were to, sorry, just waking up. If I were to add a wiki part here, and I created a new wiki, and I wanted something at the bottom where maybe I had the logos for the funding group, or I had a welcome page where I wanted to just have an image. I can hide the frame on this. When I exit page admin mode, if I need to do a quick edit of the wiki, even if I'm not an admin, this edit control will come up on hover and then bring me back to this edit page. So those are a couple of the changes that we can see just on this front page. Some other content we changed, sorry. One of the areas that we focused on in particular was the grid as well. So this may seem hopefully at least similar to you, but I can point out some particular changes. So one, we tried to make some of these common items in the grid button bar icon based. We haven't changed everything just because we want to ensure that the icons are sensical. So QC state, there are certain ones that we thought it made more sense to still spell them out. But this buys us a lot of space back in a button bar that was getting pretty big. We've also updated this paging tool. So now if you want to adjust the number of rows per page or do, navigation to first or last, it's all in here. Again, with the space-saving items, instead of having a big column of edit links or detail links that takes up a ton of room on the left-hand side, we tried to collapse these to icons. So if I wanted to edit this entry, I still can, but it's now not in my face so much. Again, this is something where we think that is a scenario that we need to enable, but we don't need to scream it at you. So and then some things that we did here was we updated how the filter bar actually looks. So if I set filters. They appear in these little bubbles here. These are actually, there's a bug that has not been deployed to this site yet. Sorry. So this is what should happen when you want to do a quick edit of one of the column options. You can just click on the bubble, change, oh, actually, I want to take out the no ARV and update it. And your filters will just kind of stack in this area until or forever. You can also do a quick remove and update that way. A lot of what our users do is, manipulating data grids, and we wanted to make some of the common actions a lot easier. We also added row highlighting. So this grid isn't particularly wide, but if I had a wide grid that I wanted to be able to scroll and see, I care about participant 120043, and I want to see the virus details way over here on the right. I can easily keep track of what is going on over there. Functionality that you may have seen in a previous release, may not. We still allow the user to do quick column charts, and we've incorporated that into our new design layout. Additionally, we've done, not that one, we've done some updates to the customized grid functionality. You may or may not remember that there was some complicated logic around whether sorts would be considered part of your saved view that required clicking on a specific button and making sure it was in a selected state that was not really apparent. We stripped that out and we just said sorts are part of your selected view. So if I want to make sure that that my saved grid will be sorted by participant ID, not quite sure why that laid out, sorry. But your updated view info will be up here. And if I save that, saved. Then whenever someone, either I or if this is a public view, loads this view, will also have the participant ID sorted as expected. We added, there are some of you who have really long lists of custom views in here. I'm not going to go ahead and make, sorry, that is telling me to wake up. I'm not going to go ahead and make 7 more grid views, but if you have 10, you'll get some filtering functionality, which I can show you. We've added here. So in the case that you have a lot, you can just start typing the name of your view to filter down the list so you don't have to scroll through a giant set of options. So a few other things that I want to tell you. We've updated the navigation a bit. As you may have seen, this is now a single pane a collapsible tree for your navigation. This automatically opens to the configuration where you are. If I went deeper into a folder, sorry, that is a guided study tour. As you can see, we have these little links that help you get up to the top level of the study. In some cases, that corresponds with what would happen if you clicked on overview, etc. But in some cases, it's a little less obvious how you would get back up to the top level. So we tried to make it really easy for you to do so. A lot of these controls are the same ones that you would see previously. We made sure to include a breadcrumb bar up here, so if I want to skip up to study or I want to go back down to the demo, it should be really easy. We've also made it so that things lay out better at smaller screens to optimize for greater breadth of device sizes and types. As you can see, my tabs collapse at certain intervals, and my menus collapse further on, just so that we know that we want you to have a great experience no matter what device you are looking at LabKey on. So we still have the ability to get to all of your tabs when things are collapsed. You still have the ability to set your custom menus if you want, and all that. We just wanted to make sure that we handled it in certain cases elegantly. The last change, and so if I go into the admin console, so we've cleaned this up a little bit. We hope to still make some changes to this as well. But we've added support for several built-in themes. This one is one that I particularly like, called Ocean. You may be asking, what's going to happen to my custom CSS? The unfortunate answer is that you're going to have to probably redo a good amount of that. But we're hoping that with the increased cleanup work that we did within our CSS, it should be a lot easier for you to set the variables that you want the way you want it. Right, so I'm going to change it back to Overcast. And go back to the demo study. And that ends my kind of highlighted look at the updated user interface. And I would love to open it up to questions. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jessi. It's really great to see all of the cool changes that have come with this new release. If anyone has a question at this point, go ahead and submit that in the chat panel, or in the question panel, sorry. Did get one comment through that one of our users loves the row highlighting. Thinks it's very useful, so way to go, Jessi, on that front.
Awesome.
Really quick, while people are taking a moment to add any questions that they have, can you give us kind of a quick idea of what we can expect moving forward, and if there's any areas that you're thinking of continuing to expand on, or what kind of the priorities we're looking at for 2018 are?
Sure. So right now we're in the midst of planning for 2018. The way that we framed it is that 2017 was really about updating the interface, so the look and feel, and doing some basic changes. But what we want to really update in 2018 is the usability, the user experience. And so we're still looking at exactly what we're going to prioritize for 2018. But what I can say is that most likely we're going to take a deep look at a lot of the import experiences, so getting data in, whether that's in a data set or a particular assay flow or list, and kind of untangling the confusion around there. So that I can almost guarantee will be one of our big focuses, along with whatever else we decide to prioritize in this next month of planning.
Great, that's awesome. I got a question. How are we collecting information on user experience from which we will make our 2018 changes? So how are we gathering the information that's going to inform what we're doing in 2018?
So we are reaching out to a number of users because we know that our user base has a wide variety of scenarios that we can't capture just through kind of imagining how people would use our platform. We want this to be really informed by how you use things. So there are a number of groups that we've already touched base with. If you're interested in talking to us about usability, you can always reach out to Kelsey afterwards. But we're trying to really engage with you, the user, to do a lot of that preliminary work. Beyond that, we are looking at, sorry, this is one thing that I forgot to mention. We do have a feedback link, so a Give UI feedback that will appear once you upgrade into 17.3. If you click that, you'll get a little form where you can say, I'd love to see more updates to the GPAT assay. Or maybe I will put that in the description and say feature request. And if you submit that, I will actually see it. I would say keep those related to the actual UI and UX, and try not to make that kind of a catch-all. But we're also looking at, say, the forums and really things that are informed by you.
Awesome, and I definitely want to second that if anyone is interested in providing any feedback directly to us, feel free to reach out to me after the session. My email is kelseyg@labkey.com, and I will make sure that you get connected with the right people so that you can provide feedback, or if you want to be involved in some of our testing or things like that, I can get you connected in those areas. And definitely please do provide feedback using that Give Feedback button. That's been really helpful for us as we have rolled out the experimental features and now the existing kind of V1 of the redesign. And if those are as descriptive as possible, that's really, really helpful for us.
And we love screenshots as long as they are not including any of your private data.
Yes, definitely. All right. Do we have any other questions about the UI and things that have changed, or questions about the new navigation? All right, well, it doesn't look like it. So thank you again, everyone, so much for joining us. If you do have questions, feel free to reach out to me separately, and I'll make sure that those get answered for you. Also, I will be sharing that recording. Thank you, Jessi, for joining us for this nice and early Monday morning webinar to share about all the great work that you've done over this past year. It looks really fantastic, and we hope that you guys enjoy using it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good rest of your day.